It's setting up the meeting for YouTube Live.
Okay.
And we are now live. Hi, I am Debbie Venice. I'm here with Erich Hetzel with the Schuhplattler group at SVT Bavaria from Cleveland, Ohio. Erich, will you go ahead and do a little introduction about yourself, and then also please tell us some about Schuhplattler history and your organization, please.
Sure. My name is Erich Hetzel. With the Schuhplattler group, it's STV Bavaria, Schuhplattler und Trachtenverein, and the name is Bavaria. I've been a member most of my life. I'm 59, and I've been dancing since I was about 5 or 6 years old, so a long time. And over the years, I've held various different positions in the group. About 25 years of being the actual floor-plattler, which is the head dancer, the main guy in charge of the dance group. So that's what Kyle is currently. I don't know, you spoke with Kyle. And so I basically taught Kyle everything he knows, I think. I like to think so. Anyway, so something about Schuhplattling. So there's a legend, and no one can really verify the origins of it, but way back in the Alps, in Bavaria and Osttirol, the mountain men, like shepherds and wood choppers and those kinds of folks, would go up in the mountains and spend time up there, and they observed this bird. It's a mating ritual of a bird called the auerhahn, which is a kind of a black grouse. I don't want to say a turkey, but it's about the size of a turkey, but it's more like a grouse. And the mating rituals of this bird intrigued these guys, and they would observe it, and the male bird would flap his wings and jump up and down on the ground and beat his chest with his wings, and while he's doing that, the female auerhahn would aloofly twirl, spin around, and pretend to ignore him. And that's so they basically made fun of the bird. They would go back into town and back in the beer stubes, and they would make fun of this bird. And it ended up becoming a dance. And there's I have some. I wanted to get this out real quick. So, a guy named John Cinema, who was a professor at Bowdoin Wells College, gave me some information back in '89. He did some research on the Schuhplattler, and I wanted to. And his research, and I don't have it right in front of me, but yeah, here it is. The first mention of the Schuhplattler was, or the actual type of dance, was back in a poem called Rudelied. Rudelied. And so anyways, that's the first mention of Schuhplattler. And then, so it was a dance between a man and a woman. And that's what it developed into. At first, it was all guys just making fun of the bird in the bars and put it to music. And next thing you know, it became a courtship type dance. And then about around 1850 in Bavaria was the first organization of groups that would do these dances. And they developed like actual dances. And a lot of the dances that we do are there's 3 different types. There's a courtship dance, which is what the original one was. Then there's a regular Schuhplattler, which is where the men are dancing, the girls are spinning around the circle. And then there is an occupational style dance where we depict a blacksmith. It's called the Umbusdans, or the anvil dance. So we do a dance that depicts an occupation. Holzhacker is another popular one. We've seen that. If you watched European Vacation, there was a dance in there called where they did a Vatchenpulver, where men would slap each other and kind of fight. That's the Vatchenpulver. So those are types of dances that is a Schuhplattler, essentially. And like I said, back in the 1850s is when the first group started to be organized in Bavaria. And how it happened to come to the States, obviously Bavarians that had this heritage would migrate or immigrate to America and bring along that heritage, and that's how the group started here. In our group in Cleveland, there was a singing society called the Blaue Donau, or the Blue Danubes, and they were basically singing. They just sang songs. And then in the late 1920s, actually, 1923, a group of Schuhplattlers from Bavaria immigrated to Cleveland and joined the Blaue Donau and introduced the actual Schuhplattler in Cleveland. So that's where it originated, in Cleveland. And then our group, kind of STV Bavaria, kind of emerged from that organization. It became, back in the 60s, or actually during the war, World War II, a lot of the German groups in the United States were basically shut down or shunned. So a lot of that kind of went away for a while. And then after the war, a lot of immigrants came from Germany into the United States again. And a group from Germany came to Cleveland, and there were a couple of folks that still remembered how to do the Schuhplattler from way back in the 20s, and taught these new immigrants the Schuhplattler. And that's where our group learned what we need to do, what we do in Schuhplattler dancing. And so around in the mid-60s, the singing part of the group started to diminish, but the dancing part was going strong. And the dancing group portion of the Blaue Donau wanted to separate themselves from the actual singing society. And that's where they kind of created, or not kind of, they actually created the Schuhplattler group known as STV Bavaria, Schuhplattler und Trachtenverein. The Schuhplattler is the dance, Tracht is the costume, Verein is club, and the name is Bavaria. And our actual name, Bavaria, is not from the state of Bavaria in Germany. It's from the patron saint of Bavaria, so Bavaria. So that's, our name is off of the patron saint of Bavaria. So anyways, so back in '66 is when they organized the dancing group, Schuhplattler und Trachtenverein Bavaria. And at that same time, an organization nationally was being organized called the Gauverband North America. And a Gau is a type of association. It's German for like association, or I guess that's the best translation for it. And a Gauverband is an association of Schuhplattler groups in North America, United States and Canada. And at the time, back then, there were probably about 45 groups. And we needed to be separated. Our Cleveland group needed to be a standalone organization in order to join that Gauverband. So that's why they kind of broke off as well from the Blaue Donau. So then the Gauverband, the intention was and still is to unite all these German Schuhplattling groups, and German and Austrian Schuhplattling groups around USA and Canada, and kind of be the central organization that brings all of them together. And currently there are around 80 groups between the US and Canada. every 2 years, there is a Gau Fest or a festival where the groups come together. Then they have competition, dancing. Groups compete against each other. And about 10 or 12 years ago, they introduced Einzelplattling, which is a single couples competing against each other. So that's a new, relatively new type of competition for the Galferband. We do have still a connection with many of the Bavarian groups in Germany. Some groups are very active and with that connection between those, it's almost like a sister city, if you will. So that's very strong and active. And why don't you show, if you have that video queued up, why don't you show a quick video of some things and let me know when I need to talk some more.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Let
thanks.
me share my screen. If I get this correct, hold on. All right. I just did this the other day. I'm working on it.
Okay.
Okay. I believe I have, right now I still have you on the screen.
Okay.
Okay, now we're switching over.
So we're back on?
Yes, we are
That-
back on.
That dance was called the Innsbruck Lied. It's a song that came from Innsbruck, but it's not an original Schuhplattler from there. We kind of took the music and made up a dance to it. So that is like an original to us, to our group. So that one kind of involves all elements. It has some figures, couples dancing, some Schuhplattling, and some bells, and the choir in the background too. So, and the whole group was there in that one. So, I think we performed that one at one of our dinners in 2019 because we didn't have anything, obviously nothing 2020. At least not. That one is probably November of 2019 when we did that performance there. Let me see. So we had our group had our 50th anniversary in 2016, and we had about 30 different dance groups from around the country come to Cleveland for that. And what else did we do? Oh yeah, the Galfest competitions. So there's a competition every 2 years. Our group has been fortunate enough to win first place, and I was trying to count them all up. I hope I got them all, but 1973 was the first time, and so 73, 75, 77, 79, four Galfests in a row. The 1979 competition was the first time that I was in it. In 81, we took second place. 83, 85, 87. We won first place again. And then it was a long dry spell. A lot of our key dancers were having babies and unable to dance. And our babies grew up. And then in 2011, let's say 2009, the Galfest was in Toledo. We won second place. That was the first time we placed above probably something like fifth place in a long time. And in 2013, we won first place again, and again in 2015. So we're very fortunate. I'm not sure where we placed in 17. That's why I'm kind of not sure. I think there were 10 first place in a row, so, or not in a row, but out of all the Galfests. I'm bragging a bit, but we're very fortunate. Some very good groups out there. We were fortunate enough to win. We also have had the opportunity to host the Galfest. The first time we hosted it was in 1983, and then we hosted it a second time in 2013, and that was at Kalahari out in Sandusky. And then we are planning to host it again in 2023 at Kalahari. Of course, everything is kind of up in the air now with COVID, so we're not sure about anything. So hopefully it still works out. There is supposed to be a competition this year. However, that group has, obviously because of COVID, we are not doing that. So they pushed their competition to 2022. So hopefully that works out for everybody and we're able to meet and have a good time and do the competition and all that stuff. So do you have questions?
I would like you, if you had a moment, could you show us some of the basic moves and what the thought is behind, how the moves are done?
Sure. So let me lay some groundwork here. So most of the music is in a 3/4 beat or time. So it's like a waltz, but the actual music is called a Ländler. And then so there are variations. Obviously, there's different times. Sometimes it's 2/4 or 4/4 time, depending on the music. But primarily, everything is in 3/4 time. The Schuhplattler, the men's part, obviously, There's a different role, and the men and women do different things. The foundation of the Schuhplattler is called a Sechserschlag, or a six hit. So that means there's two hits for every one beat. So in a 3/4 measure and 3 measure, and in 1 measure of 3 beats, there would be 6 slaps for the man. Okay. So I'm going to kind of show you if I can, I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but yeah. So it all starts, there's like a position, like I'm going to, so you can see, maybe I'll back up if I can back up the camera a bit. So, still kind of goofy with this hat on, and not wearing my lederhosen, but essentially you start with the right hand on the right thigh. That's hit number 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you hit your left foot with your right hand, the right sole. Your left sole with the right hand. That's 5, and then you finish it up with a 6. That's the first half. There's 2 halves. There's a first half, and then you switch. Basically, the first half is you're standing on your right foot with your left leg in the air. So it's kind of like tricky. There's balance involved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you switch. Now you're standing on your left foot, and you're hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you're going to hit the right foot in the back, 5, and then finish it up with the 6. And that basically is the foundation of it. So everything starts off, when we're teaching new people to dance, that's the foundation of it. And every new person is counting in their head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what we try to get them to do is to be able to do the first and second half together, and then basically it's a continuous thing. So, and we want them to do this without even thinking about it. So they can just do it where they're just going 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. That's the basic of it. Now there's going to be variations. Sometimes there's a double hit, or syncopation hits. If you want to show another video of a Schuhplattler, you should be able to see what I'm talking about. Do you have one queued up already?
I will post those later.
Okay.
Because it took me almost as long to pull up the video as it did to play the video.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm still learning all this with the COVID. I'm still learning how to do all this virtual stuff.
Gotcha. So that's the basic Sechserschlag, and then there's a 4-hit one that's more of in the 4-4-2-4 beat. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So it's a lot. It's eliminating some of the hits, but it's all part of that. And then we have, and these all have different Bavarian type dialect names: a Sechserschlag, a Viertelschlag. That's the 4-hit. Then you have a Knieschlag, which is bringing up your leg like that. That's a Knieschlag. You have a Kreuzschlag, which is a cross hit. This is when you're going back like this. That's a Kreuzschlag, or a cross hit. A Hochsprung is a high jump. That's you saw that in the video. You hit, and then you jump up and you touch. The man will jump up and touch the right leg, and then kneel down and hit the floor. And that's all done in 6 hits. So that's actually 2 measures: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's where it slows down a bit. Now the girls' part, it's a lot trickier. It's most of the time, for the female, for the woman, they are twirling around the circle. So they're doing a lot of work. Actually, they're, number one, spinning around their own axis, but then also traveling around a circle. And it takes obviously a lot of time to get used to that motion. Know where you are as you're going around the circle, so you're not running into people. Trying to stay in line with the person in front of you. And so it's definitely a skill for the female as well to master. In a competition, for example, there's typically 4 couples or 6 couples. Once in a while there's 5, but it's usually 4 or 6. And in the competition, the groups are being judged by, let's say if there's 4 couples, how spaced the men are, how the females travel around the circle, the waltzing or the Lendler portion. So it's all being judged by these judges, and the timing of the men's hits, the girls' stepping of their feet has to be all in sync. The formation of the bell of their tracht, you know, how their skirt, how nicely it forms. If it's wobbling or if it's dipping, you know, they're all looking for that. So they're looking for almost perfection here. So a lot of the groups are striving for that, and that's what we try to do too. So there's many elements that are put into the competition. 4 couples, 6 couples is just more people out there, more potential for mistakes. A lot of groups are going with 4 couples in the competition. What else did I want to say? Yeah, the outfit, the tracht itself. So we have, obviously, the men are wearing lederhosen. You know, they're usually made out of some type of like a deer skin. Then there is the suspenders, and then they have a crest across the chest that typically has different designs. Some are basic. I didn't bring mine down here, but then there's usually a vest. If you noticed in the other video, there were a couple people that had a vest on with many medals. Those were the competition medals that were won during these competitions. Then and some groups, the men wear full socks over the calf. In our group, we have a short sock and then a portion of around the calf called a Stutzen. And there's a story behind that too. We're not sure how accurate that is, but back in the mountains, when they would wear full socks and walk around, they noticed that the heels of the sock would wear out, but the rest of the sock was still good. So they thought, being practical, hey, why don't we, you know, we need the portion around the calf to keep our calves warm when it's cold outside. But when the sock is bad, why don't we just save that part and replace the sock part? So that's where we thought that it makes sense. We don't know if it's accurate or not, but we like to tell that story. Then we typically wear shoes that are, I'll tell you what, why don't we play a video? I'm going to grab my stuff and bring it down here while the video is playing. Is that okay?
Yes.
And then
Yep.
I'll show you everything. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I was going to ask, is it possible for me to talk over the video?
I believe so.
Okay. Maybe I'll also give it a bit of a talk as we're going through the video. Okay, so this is the performance of our group at our Galfest in 2013, and it's a combination of many different dances all into one. This is the Glockenplatter, or the bell dance. This is not the competition, obviously. This is just a performance.
This is still one of my favorite ones to watch.
So we transition into a bit of a Figurentanz, so a couples courtship dance, where we do some different figures, or we call them Figuren, or figures.
And we call this windows in the Wolfstanzer dancing.
This is a Plattler. If you watch real close, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is very basic right here. And at the end of the Plattler part is the Hochsprung that I talked about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it goes. And this is what's called a Rundgang, or a chase, where the men are chasing the girls. And there's some young girls there. And the dance that we do here is actually called a Ländler. And that's where, if you, a typical waltz would have a long, short, short, a step, a long, and then 2 short steps. In a Ländler, it's 3 even steps. Again, that's the Sechserschlag. This particular part of the dance is called a Schnuckelwalzer. That's the name of it. Schnuckel means kind of like snappy. And that's where, as you can see, the girls are twirling and traveling around the circle. And we transition to another dance. This is more of a march tempo. And here comes Rudy with the bullwhip.
And then that's in the end of that one that I cut out.
That's cool. That was a good little segment of different types of dances that we do. That whole performance was probably about 12 to 15 minutes long for us. Various different things. This a mix of all these different dances. We wanted to showcase a lot of the things that we do. Anyways, while the video was playing, I went and got a few things. Here's these are my lederhosen, the leather pants, and these are my suspenders. That's what I was talking about. They had that across the chest is this shield, I guess. So our group uses this particular one. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
We use this particular one. Other groups from around the world, or I mean, in North America and in Germany, Austria, have maybe different variations, or they have a customized one with their group's name on it. These are. I also have a deerfoot knife in the side pocket. I don't want to pull it out because the sheath gets stuck in there, and I have a hard time coming back in there. And then there it is. This is my vest with all the medals on it. So I've been very lucky and been able to get a few of those. So that's my vest. And then we also wear a hat. This is called a Miesbacher hat, or a style from a town in Germany called Miesbach. It's in Bavaria. And the Miesbach style is what our group tries to emulate. I didn't have my, there it is. We also have a feather in our hat. This is the feather. This is a feather from an eagle from the Alps. It's called an Adler. That actually means eagle. I'm not sure the actual species of the bird, but it's an Adler, eagle feather. Then they twist it. This might be a synthetic version. The actual bird is endangered, and they don't allow the collection of the feathers anymore. So, but that's the feather, and it goes into here, like that, and that's that. So other groups you might see, they wear, the girls in our group wear a white plumed feather that sticks straight up. Other groups, there's different variations, so we also kind of decorate the hat with a few things. We try to limit the hat decorations, mainly because in competition, you have to be as uniform as possible. So we just try to limit the hat decorations. But then I was wearing this one. You can see that it has all these little pins and stuff on it. These are also, this is called a gumspot, or a goat's beard. And there's various different sizes, and there's some that are huge. They're like this big, and they're like $10,000. Obviously, I don't have that kind of money to spend on a gumspot. But so here's one that's kind of old and leaning over, but it's still cool. And then these are the Stützen. These are the half sock that's worn around the men's calf muscle. And then this is the actual sock portion right here. So some groups, the men have a full sock. Our group has always had this combination. The shoe, I didn't have time to get the shoe, but our shoes have on the heel, the men's have kind of like a horseshoe, a steel edge around the heel, which allows us to get a nice smack on the floor. Kind of like a cleat, but it's actually in the shape of a horseshoe. So yeah, the Schuhplattler dance itself, the basics, the Sechserschlag. There are, we stamp our feet on the ground. Obviously, you saw that in the video as well. Any other questions?
No, not right now.
Okay.
But I'm sure I want to talk to you, both you and or Kyle, again at some point, because the more information we share, I think is better.
Sure.
And it took a while for Jeanette, one of our former Volkstanzer instructors, to find a Schuhplattler group that she that was going to be able to help us tonight to do this, to do the lesson as part of our virtual Fasching.
Oh, cool.
And then to find out that you folks were up in Cleveland, and she's actually seen you perform because she was the original Madame Gigi's with
Okay.
Gigi's Outrageous French Can-Can Dancers.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I remember you guys. You're up in the Oktoberfest. You came up to the Oktoberfest in Cleveland.
Madame Gigi's been up there several times.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. That's cool.
Not myself. I'm not one of the. I'm one of the Volksdancers, but,
okay.
but I'm friends with a lot of the.
Madame Gigi. I remember her name.
Yes. Well, thank you, Erich, very much. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to talk to us today and to show us some of the basic moves of the Schuhplattler and to tell us about the history and all of it, because that's, again, the more we share, the better it is.
I was very pleased to be able to do this tonight. It was good for me to kind of, we've been kind of locked up, as everyone else has been, for almost a year now. And this is for sure, in my lifetime, the longest stretch since I started where I have not danced Schuhplattler. So we have not been practicing. We've not been performing, obviously. So it was kind of good for me to talk about it, and hopefully I was decent at it. I'm not really that great at it. I hope I was able to convey the nuances of the dance, the history of it, our group. I think I covered just about everything, the major points, and it was good for me. Thank you for having me. Good,
thank you. I mean, our Volksdancer group, we haven't danced since March either, so it's been. We're starting to do Monday via Zoom on Mondays, but it's difficult because all of our dances are partner dances.
Yeah, ours too. We have our rehearsals on Friday night, every Friday. We take a break usually in the summer for a couple of weeks, but it's pretty much every Friday. And we're like family with each other, right? It's like, and it's a family thing. I have 3 kids. They're all grown up now, but they were in these videos. They all 3 were dancing. They all are still active in it. My son recently relocated to Seattle, so hopefully he still keeps up with it. But there is a group out there, so hopefully he's able to do it. He was actually in the first video, the person playing the bells in the middle of the circle. That was my son Adam. So he grew up in this stuff, and same. All 3 of my kids did. We just brought them along, and they learned how to do it. That's how I started. My mom came from, grew up near Munich, and plays an instrument called a zither. And she immigrated with her parents to Cleveland back in probably the mid-50s, 56 around there, 1956-ish. And she went to West Tech High School here up in Cleveland. I live in Medina County, and heard about this dance group, the Blaue and took her zither along, and and then when I was born, she brought me in, my brothers. They don't perform as much. They didn't get into it as much as I did. But I pretty much stuck with it, met my wife through the group, had our children. So, and that's a common story in our group. We have, I kind of, when children are in their teenage years and they have things to do with school, like sports and other high school related things, it's very easy for the soccer games, things like that, football games. It's, our practices are on Friday nights. It's tough to compete against the high school football game, if you're in high school. Anyways, we kept it going. I played high school football, so I missed a few Fridays or a season of where I danced when I could, but I still had games to play on Friday. So, but a lot of times it's something that, you know, we're embarrassed to do, to be seen, especially when you're in that age, when you're in your teenage years and it's not cool kind of thing. But it's something that, you know, I look at other parents that are not involved with this, and their kids are in soccer or baseball or whatever sport, and then it's over. And then they never really got to play soccer at a level, or baseball at a level, or football with their children. I got to dance, grow up with my kids. We danced together. We were in competition teams together. It's a very unique thing. And other ethnic groups are probably very similar, but that's the main thing I think that sets us apart from all ethnic groups. No, are the same, but sets us apart from activities where parents and children are not doing the same thing together. You know, you're supporting, if you're doing sports and you're supporting your child as best you can, but you're not actually out there on the field or on the court playing alongside your children. You know, you're watching and encouraging. But here in this kind of a thing, you're not only watching and encouraging, but you're participating with them. And that's cool.
I definitely agree.
So again,
the multi-generational dances and passing it down to the next generation is what it's all about.
Yeah, if you saw the last video you played, we had every generation out there, right? Yeah. And we were all dancing together at whatever level we were at. But you know, it's something that is unique to at least our group. A lot of groups are like that, but it's an unusual thing in the United States to have something like that. Yep. Well, again, I appreciate you so much allowing me to talk to you today and to everybody out there. Thank you, and I hope you have a great night.
Thank you so much, and you have a great night too.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.